The Honourable Leader of the Opposition. At the time, our per capita GDP was equal to the American. In fact, Canadian workers were earning more than their American counterparts. But after 9 years of taxes and this government's economic obstacles, this radical Liberal government's obstacles, we can see that Americans are now earning $34,000 more per person. And the GDP has increased by 18% per capita, while it's gone down in Canada. We know why Mr. Trump wants to create jobs in the U.S. Why does this Prime Minister want to help him do that? The Right Honourable Prime Minister. I know Donald Trump well enough to know that he would be very confused, as are Canadians, in trying to understand why the Leader of the Opposition, in these uncertain times with hostility abroad and so on, why does he keep refusing to get the security clearance he needs in order to get top secret briefings so that he can protect his members and Canadians? The Conservative leader refuses to get security briefings. Donald Trump wouldn't understand that, and Canadians don't either.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
What President Trump must not understand, must actually find kind of humorous, is that while he wants to take jobs from other countries and give them to Americans, he sees here in Canada a Prime Minister that wants to help him do it. Yeah. Let's review the track record. He brought in a massive tax on energy that he wants to quadruple, which will drive our trucking, manufacturing, factories, and other businesses abroad. He raised taxes on investment. He's blocked key energy projects, and he's shipped $500 billion down to the United States. Is the Prime Minister auditioning to be the Secretary of Job Creation in the United States?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, once again, the Leader of the Opposition needs to get his facts straight. In the 9 years since we took office, foreign direct investment has increased by 60% in this country, so much so that we are now #1 per capita for foreign direct investment last year in the G20. Mr. Speaker, we continue to work hand in hand with the United States, with whatever administration, to protect jobs, to grow our economies. But what the American government will not understand is why the Conservative leader continues to refuse to get the security clearance necessary to protect Canadians, to protect us all from foreign interference.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Mr. Speaker, 10 years ago, our per capita GDP, that's income per person, was equal to that in the United States. The New York Times said Canadians were richer and our workers were making more money. But since that time, the American economy has grown by 18% per person. And in Canada, it's actually smaller. We've had the worst per capita GDP decline of any G7 country since the year before COVID, all after this Prime Minister hiked taxes on investment, on work, on business, and unleashed a wicked attack on our energy sector. Again, why is it that he keeps trying to create jobs for Americans? Why don't we bring the jobs home?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
And Mr. Speaker, we see the Conservative leader cherry-picking his numbers. The reality is the IMF predicts Canada to have stronger economic growth next year than the United States. Full stop. What he is trying to do is continue to talk down our economy and pretend that maybe he's going to be able to deal with an American government that will not understand why he dropped defense spending to below 1% of GDP when he was last around the cabinet table, why he continues to refuse to get the necessary security clearance to get the briefings to keep his own caucus safe, much less all Canadians.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Mr. Speaker, I can't think of anyone who would more favor quadrupling the carbon tax to 61 cents a litre in Canada than this Prime Minister. Right. Well, maybe there's one person. Right. I think perhaps President Trump wouldn't mind, because of course it will mean our trucking companies, our factories, our mines will all shut down and go south of the border where they will pay zero carbon tax. Mr. Speaker, we have enough to worry about with President Trump potentially imposing tariffs on Canadian companies. Why would our government impose tariffs on ourselves.
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Once again, Mr. Speaker, the Leader of the Opposition demonstrates that he has no understanding that the only way to build a stronger economy for the future is also to protect the environment at the same time while putting more money back in the pockets of Canadians. The Canada Carbon Rebate puts more money back in the pockets of 8 out of 10 Canadians, according to the Parliamentary Budget Officer, according to top economists and environmentalists across the country. We're putting more money in people's pockets that the Leader of the Opposition wants to take away at a time where investments in jobs, in growth in the future is more important than ever before.